Just a minute, I feel like we've been here before. Have we been here before? Hey guys, DB Rye here, and today, and yes, continuing with Fasha Week. There's still today and tomorrow to go. However, this time I'm taking a little break from What If Fasha survived, due to, all my ideas have pretty much been used up, and I'm still working on how to continue it from where I last left off. But don't worry, the series will be continuing. It's just as soon as I, get over the writer's block I'm having with the idea at the moment. So, I thought I would start off another Fasha What If with What If Fasha and Gine survived. I know. Crazy, right? But DB Right, how is this going to differ from What If Fasha survived? Isn't it ideally just going to be the same story on repeat, just with the addition of Gine? Honestly, hopefully not. But without further ado, let's actually see where I'm going with this. Now, I think in order to really tell this story right, we first need to sort of get in to a bit of an understanding of both Fasha and Gine. Well, the best way I figure to tell this story is back when Gine was a part of Bardock's crew for that small, brief period before she more or less assigned herself to as a life as a mere cook. And well, it was definitely a hard, struggling time for Gine, who didn't really show particular talent for battle, nor really a passion for battle or fighting or any of that. Pretty much everything that made Saiyans what they were. Most Saiyans instinctually live for battle, live for fighting, and live for conquering. It was in their nature. It was part of who they are, part of their heritage. It's what they've always done. It's what they've always known. But for some reason, Gine never was really particularly talented for it, and back during her early days of training, back in her youth, she just wasn't quite in step with the rest of them. There was potential there. She could, but she just, I don't know, wasn't in it. Was the training not hard enough for her? Was she just not being pushed to the point where, more or less that, Saiyan instinct for battle, it was just kind of like Gine really just wasn't getting into the spirit of the whole thing. And that was more or less holding her back. So, some Saiyans higher ups, had the idea of, sticking her with, Bardock and his crew. They're an upcoming squad. They are more or less considered middle-class Saiyans, or even low-class Saiyans, but yet they're not afraid to get their hands dirty, and they're climbing up the ranks, and of course they are well aware that Frieza's taken a particular liking to him as well. And well, this is prior to them becoming, the number one Saiyan squad in Frieza's elite force when it comes to conquering and taking over planets. So, with that, they assign Gine to Bardock's crew, and well, yeah, no one is really that particularly impressed. Bardock really not showing much emotion towards it, either way. It's, orders are orders. And well, everyone else, basically scanning Gine's power level, a mere 400 to 500. Yeah, she's going to be a liability, if anything. And well, it's not long before that comes true, when they actually take her out on a couple of missions, and she's more or less slowing down the crew, not engaging with the enemy, and in some cases even somewhat cowering when enemies would attack her, leaving leaving the other Saiyans either having to rescue her, mostly Bardock, and yeah, and that ultimately caused with dividing their forces and pretty much wrecking their overall plan, and yeah, just making the job a lot more harder and a lot more dangerous for him. Gine at this point was a liability, and Fasha didn't like this one bit, and she also didn't really like how Bardock kept coming to her age, and why not let this waste of a Saiyan just die? At least she'd die with honor. She'd at least die for the cause, which is considered an honorable death in terms of Saiyans and being a Saiyan. And well, one night Fasha decided to try have Gine killed when she tampered with her space pod. So when this job was done, they'd go home and Gine would be met with an unfortunate accident. And yeah. However, Gine more or less figured she wasn't really fitting in here and decided she was going to go home. However, with Bardock, who was pretty much on watch that night, just basically tells to her, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." "Don't try and stop me, Bardock. I'm not fit for this kind of life. We know that. We all know that. Even I know that. I'm only slowing you down. And I've only put you in danger." "Yep, you're definitely a burden. I'm not disagreeing there. And well, just know if you do actually choose to leave, you're pretty much going to be branded a coward the rest of your days." "You know what? I accept that. I can always go back and work in the kitchens. I was always a better cook anyway." "Is that so? Well, if I can't convince you not to go, I'll tell you what. Take Fasha's pod." "What? Why?" "Well, Fasha kinda tampered with it." "What? You saying she was willing to kill me? She was willing to go that far?" "Yes, well, I'm afraid so. At least your name wouldn't have been disgraced." And well, with that, Gine just sort of give Bardock a sort of a thank you and more or less got back in her pod, into Fasha's pod that is, and left the planet. And well, it would be a while before she saw Bardock or any of the crew again. Now resorting to her life as a cook, she didn't really go out and particularly do much. And other Saiyans would look down on her, but hey, she was more or less still in service. Sure, she wasn't battling, but at least she was keeping the armies fed, and the squads fed, and everything like that. And yes, she definitely did know her way around the kitchen. So anyway, some time had passed before Gine actually saw the crew again, when Bardock sort of noticed Gine working in the diner. And, well, now was as good a time as any to treat the crew to a well-deserved meal. And with that, Fasha sort of laughing in her head that, yeah, Gine belongs in a kitchen. She's just so weak. Because, well, that's what Saiyans do to each other when you're weak, They make fun of how weak you are. It's just, sort of what they learnt throughout their servitude under King Cold and Lord Frieza. Not in the olden days when Saiyans were more or less treated equally and were all equal in the eyes of other Saiyans, but those days were long gone. And, well, yeah, the other thing that sort of got on Fasha's nerve was how much time Bardock was actually spending with Gine. Not really talking to his crew at all, just talking to Gine, which took Gine by surprise, because even Gine sort of had the impression that Bardock didn't even really like her much. And well, in terms of a warrior and battle strength and all that, yeah, I guess you could say he didn't really like her much, but in terms of conversation, was definitely better than hearing his crew talking about everything they killed and, oh, we did this, oh, this guy gave us a good fight and blah blah blah. all the war stories that he's heard like a million times, and from every other saying that, it's like the same sort of thing on permanent repeat. And for Bardock, who's not quite like your typical Saiyan himself, was more or less more interested in talking with Gine and just curious to how she's been going since they last saw her and all that. And needless to say, Gine became somewhat flattered by all this, and needless to say, something did happen between the two, eventually resulting in a coupling and the birth of their first Saiyan child, Raditz. And well, with this, Fasha and the rest of the crew had no choice in the matter but to start respecting Gine and treating her better, because now she was officially Bardock's woman. And well, with Raditz being around and Fasha taking a liking to Raditz and the way he behaves, it did find a common ground for Gine and Fasha to start getting along as well. Fasha and Gine do actually somewhat form a bit of a friendship. Fasha even helping Gine out with cleaning up after the kitchen was closed. And Fasha even at some stage full out apologizing for trying to have her killed, way back when, and even offered Gine a free shot, which Gine of course took, giving Fasha a big gut punch. Typical Saiyan behavior. If a Saiyan did something wrong and you refused that kind of gesture, it was a complete act of disrespect and considered an insult. So, after all, Gine was a Saiyan herself, and yep, she did quite enjoy giving Fasha that little payback punch. And with that, everyone has moved on. Alright, and meanwhile, Fasha and Bardock have their second coupling, resulting in the birth of Kakarot in his nursing capsule, and we now head into the events of Dragon Ball Minus. Bardock had returned from a mission slightly injured and was in a healing chamber while the rest of his crew were sent off to Planet Meat, and as we know, are ultimately ambushed by Dodoria and his men. And well, in the meantime, Bardock has healed. However, he doesn't go to Planet Meat this time. He's been ordered to stay put. And well, it's not like his crew couldn't really handle that job without him. And well, he decides to go back to his home with Gine and just catch up with what's going on with his family, and that's where he notices that there are a bunch of Saiyan ships actually returning home from mission, and Bardock's curious to why that is. Bardock, it's something to do about Frieza. He's suddenly ordered all of us Saiyans to return home, and maybe it's some sort of big promotion, or maybe we're all being joined together to take out some planet who will take all the Saiyans he has to conquer it. And well, this comes off rather suspicious with Bardock, and then someone mentions how Frieza's men have been asking about the Super Saiyan as of lately. The Super Saiyan? What? The one in the legend? And this is where Bardock catches on with what's going on there, and pretty much the events of getting Kakarot off-world, and the whole in how it's told in Dragon Ball Minus begins to happen. And meanwhile, his crew has more or less been taken out by Dodoria and his team. Well, with a slight difference that somehow, someway, Fasha actually managed to survive, but is damaged and more or less weakened. And well, with that, by the time Fasha gets to a space pod and tries to return home from Planet Vegeta, it is more or less destroyed. No life left on Earth. Fasha couldn't do a thing about it. And well, the only thing she could do was really punch in the coordinates to where that other space pod was going. And well, the only reason she knew which spaceport it was and where it was going is, well, when she passed it on the way through, she saw a little Kakarot through the spaceport window, and to her surprise, also Gine. And so, with that, Fasha's pod is heading towards the direction of planet Earth. And, well, she lands there more or less a few days after Gine and Kakarot's arrival. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is more or less starting out just like with What If Fasha survived. However, there is one really huge difference here, is that Fasha is able to track down Kakarot and Gine really easily, because the fact that Gine is with him, and Gine's power level is higher than any other life form on this planet, and of course it's distinct too. Fasha knows her power level is 500, and there's only one power level of 500 on the planet, and it's right at Grandpa Gohan's homestead. So Fasha is flying towards where the signal is located, and well, she comes across Mount Palzu, and flies down. She's looking around, and she comes across this homestead, and well, there she sees Gine just sort of outside playing with Kakarot, who's just sort of happy and smiling, being held up into the air. You know what children are like. And well, she suddenly looks to her right to see Fasha standing there. Fasha? Fasha, is that really you? You're alive? And well, she couldn't help but spring to her legs and embrace Fasha and hug her as a greeting. And Fasha's just sort of happy and relieved to see that there's at least 2 more Saiyans that survived the destruction of her home world. And Fasha just sort of wanting to know what on earth happened to Planet Vegeta. And well, more or less, Gine fills her in that it was Frieza, that Frieza did it. Frieza destroyed their planet. Frieza? Are you serious? I see. So Dodoria didn't just attack me and our crew for just kicks. So Frieza wanted us all dead. And well, Fasha just sort of looks to Gine. What about Bardock? Is he here too? I'm afraid not. He went down fighting. He tried to oppose Frieza and bought Kakarot and myself enough time to escape. He didn't go down without a fight. And well, with that, Fasha can sort of just sort of says, I would expect no less for Bardock. He went down a true Saiyan. And well, this is where Grandpa Gohan shows up, and Fasha's sort of getting ready to sort of attack the old man, and Gine's just go, no, don't attack this one. Whatever you do, this is the nice old man who took me and Kakarot in. And I'm sure you'd be welcome to stay as well. And well, Grandpa Gohan, who has sort of been filled in on who Saiyans were and what they did, and of course the Teo recognizes this is obviously another member of their race. He is sort of wary of Fasha because, well, Kakarot and Gine aren't like typical Saiyans who just go around killing stuff and conquering, but Fasha is one of those typical Saiyans. And well, with that, yeah, it is off to a bit of a rocky start, but yeah, it is more or less dealt. Fasha and Grandpa Gohan sort of come around to each other a little bit later on, and Grandpa Gohan is more then happy for the extra company, and well, it's more people to help out around, and well, there is this really funny incident where Grandpa Gohan does leave the Free Saiyans alone, and well, when he comes back, his house is more or less on fire. Gine basically promised everyone she'd cook them a decent meal, but however, due to the lack of technology that Grandpa uses, because Grandpa Gohan does not use really modern day technologies, he more or less lives a more or less free life, using no more technology really than the stone cooker. Well, Gine not really familiar with this old technology. I mean, even they had stoves back on Planet Vegeta. Yeah, well, she set fire to Gohan's homestead. Gohan having to put it out with a Kamehameha, and this is where both Gine and Fasha are sort of witness to Grandpa Gohan's potential and fighting and martial art potential as well. Because, well, this is where every time Fasha read Grandpa Gohan's power level at the past, it was like 5. 2 or 5. Something like that. When suddenly with this Kamehameha, it's boosted to about 100. Enough to put out a fire, and this is where Fasha's sort of curious about the overall potential of the human race. You know, perhaps whoever did the scanning, whoever scanned the information from this planet, clearly did not do a good job. And well, Grandpa Gohan just sort of look at him. I could teach you that if you want. How to hide your energy and sense power levels and things like that without that doohickey on your face. And more or less, Fasha and Gine decide to take up their offer. And of course, little Kakarot can train and join in as well. So it's like a family thing, and it's almost like Grandpa Gohan's got like a mini dojo. And well, with that, they do more or less enjoy training together, and Fasha more or less struggling with the whole mystical side of things, learning how to sense energy and doing that. She's more or less struggling with that, you know, being a brutal warrior Saiyan that she's always been. But she's more or less picking it up. Gine, who's more or less picking it up quicker, who's more or less a more laid back Saiyan than she is. And Kakarot's taking it up the information like a sponge. He's the first one to learn it. And well, with that, time pretty much comes by until a mysterious girl arrives at the homestead looking for a DragonBall, and almost running down Kakarot, who's returning home with a big fish. Who is this individual? Well, it's Bulma, of course, and I think that's actually where we're going to leave things for right now. So what do you guys think? Did you enjoy this story? Did you enjoy this what if? Did you like the little origin I put there with Fasha and Gine? I hope I didn't stray too far to what Fasha's character actually is like. I actually think this actually realistically would have happened had especially considering Gine was part of Bardock's crew. I think that fact is pretty much confirmed, and would provide a bit of a reasoning to why she left. And yep, and with that, I will be back again with more what ifs. And well, with that, thank you guys for watching and tuning in, and I'll be back again tomorrow for the final of Fasha week. And don't forget, next week we're having Gine week. Alright, catch yous later. See yous later.